What's up, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural NBA episode of the Winning Picks Weekly podcast. My name is John Meleka. As always, I'm joined by my buddy, my co-host, my pal, the one and only Greg Albert, also our video producer for Knicks, Jets, etc. What up, Greg?
What's going on, man? I'm ready for some NBA talk. Let's get into it because it's our first episode, so we're going to be talking about some season-long bets, kind of like we do with the NFL stuff. You know, we're out on podcasts. You can always check us, like you said, on Knicks, Jets, etc. YouTube channel. So give us a like, give us a follow on that. You can see our pretty faces over there. If you want to take us on the road, Apple, Spotify, anywhere on the podcast stuff. It's been great. We've been having some fun with the NFL stuff, so we said, why not kick it up a little bit? Let's talk some NBA.
Yeah, so not only are we NFL addicts where we have Game Pass and we're rewatching NFL games during the week, we are also League Pass addicts.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, just on our last Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast, Knicks episode with Chip Murphy, you can check that out. We're discussing halftime shows for for League Pass games. I mean, like we are deep into this game, so we figure we'll put up a short NBA episode once in a while and see what's up, and we'll see how it goes. So, Greg, you teased it at first, and let's start with you. You're our futures king for the NFL, and so let's see how your NBA futures do. So, what do you got for NBA futures, man?
So the
Only 10
beauty,
games into the season.
yeah. So the beautiful thing about basketball, at least from my perspective, is it's not so much like the NFL where you have 18 games to figure out who's gonna be good or not. You have a ton of time, so I like to pick futures throughout the year. So right
Cool.
now, I think there's
You hedge.
yeah, exactly. You can hedge it out, or you can just find teams that are kind of down bad a little bit that you might be able to get some good value for. So, like, my first future for me is going into the season. I really like the Hawks, and they started out a little slow. They're 4-7 right now. So for them, just to win the East is 1900. I like that as my one of my first futures, and I might. I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about the Atlanta Hawks? What do you think about them? I mean, we're obviously Knicks fans. We ran into them in the playoffs. I bet a lot. I bet a lot on them last year. So, I love Trae Young as well. So I'll throw that in. That's my other pick. Is going to be Trae Young to win MVP. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
right now is plus 4,800. So plus
Mm-hmm.
4,000, plus 5,000 in that range. It's worth a shot to me because he can lead the league in scoring. Hasn't done it yet, but he can score with the best of them. He could put up 13 assists in a night, and he's getting to that where he has a little bit of rivalry at the Knicks going. He's feeling confident about himself. He's got commercials out. He's got a lot going on where if it's not one of the main guys that you kind of think of, year in and year out right now in the NBA, I think when you get into that plus 4,000 area, I think he probably has the best shot out of anyone out there.
All right. Well, I'll start with your first question asking about the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah,
You had to mention, I mean, the background is the Knicks, so I understand that you have to mention it,
for
but
sure.
whew, do I want to forget the Hawks playoff series? I was in Madison Square Garden every one of those games. It hurt. We exercised the demons game one with that double overtime game versus Celtics, and I feel like the Knicks are over it.
Yep.
On the other hand, I don't think the Atlanta Hawks are over it, man. I think they're kind of hungover still from their run last year. They're not starting off too hot, and like you mentioned, one of the advantages of the NBA season is we kind of, it fluctuates more,
Sure.
rather than like the NFL's like, did they get hot one time and they peak too early and that's it? In the
Yep.
NBA, there's peaks and valleys, and I think right now what you see from the Atlanta Hawks, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, they're about to be 4-8. They're about to be the second to last or third to last team in the Eastern Conference right now. You know what I mean? Just because the Detroit Pistons are basically the Jacksonville Jaguars out here. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why they're afloat. They're looking real bad, and so there is some value on the Atlanta Hawks' future right now. But you're asking me what from what I'm watching. I mean, you got the Cam Reddish situation, him and Hunter. You can't really figure them out right now. They're not really meshing on the court. John Collins gets paid and not really living up to to the contract already. Who would have thought? So, and Trae Young is gonna be Trae Young as the season goes on. But don't forget, man, you're calling him out from MVP, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't like that bet. They get rid of those fouls, dude. Between him not getting foul calls anymore and the Nets sarcastically cheering for Harden fouls because they can't get them, dude. The NBA, they're calling it different, and you see what calling it different does, right?
Yeah, for sure,
When
especially
you
for
see an
Harden.
NBA
Yeah.
game, you see it for Harden, you see how it affects the Nets, you see how it affects the Hawks. So to be honest with you, I'm kind of bearish on the Hawks, man. Like I'm not going to be surprised if they pull together and they start winning games and they come back. But do I love the Trae Young MVP? Nah. Do I like huge odds? What do you got the Hawks at to win the East right now?
I think it was 1900. Was it?
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. You take Hawks plus 1900 to win the East is nice. My Eastern Conference team to win the East. I mean, the Heat are plus 500 right now, which is not so great, but I still kind of like that, right? Like five times
Yeah.
your money, not so bad. But if you want real value, I mean, the Bulls are at 1700, and the Pacers. Talk about the Pacers team where I mean, that's the team where I think fits more of your mold, where
Yeah.
they're trying to get it together, they're meshing. They just got a new coach. Levert just came back. I have Levert at like plus 8,000 comeback player of the year. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that comes together, right? Off that cancer scare. Now he got a back injury.
He's been playing good though.
So that's my big uh future, I think, in the East. I think the Pacers plus 6,500 would be my big go-to. I think Heat to win the championship, Heat to win the Eastern Conference. Nice. Heat to win the chip at plus 1,200. A little more than I'd like to spend on that, but I don't think that's that bad. I really do like the Heat. But I'm gonna end this off with my futures on the East with my favorite Knicks, my favorite bet. That's gonna be the Knicks to make the playoffs at minus 185. Dude, just take
Okay.
the bet. Just take the bet, dude.
Yeah, we're making the
Just take the
playoffs.
winner.
Just put it in.
Take the winner. If you're gonna waste whatever you're gonna waste on the futures, your $50 bets, half units on the futures, bet that all on the Knicks money line to make the playoffs. Dude, we're gonna make the playoffs.
For
Give me a
sure.
break out here.
For sure. One of the things that I love, first of all, love the Knicks pick. Like you said, it says sprinkling $50, on 4 or 5 different, things. Just put all 250 on the Knicks to make the playoffs. Make a couple $100 and walk away at in a couple months. That's not bad either. But I do like the Pacers at plus 6,500. Because what's surprising to me, and I want to know kind of what you think about this, because you've been talking about the Pacers a little bit going into the season, the first couple weeks. They're 6,500, and they are right now the third place team in the Eastern Conference, behind teams like the Washington Wizards, the Cavaliers, the Toronto Raptors, the Hornets. Then when you go to like a gambling website like Las Vegas, the people who know more than all of us about sports, the
Everything
pace
apparently.
the Pacers are way ahead of them in odds. Pacers are 6,500. The Hornets are tied with them at 6,500. But the Wizards, who are what, 7-2, 7-3, seven
Seven
and
and
three
three. They're
right now.
frauds. Does Vegas say they're frauds? Because
They're
they are.
plus 9,000. They're
Oh, okay, that makes
total
sense.
frauds. The
Dude,
Bulls
that makes
also
sense.
7-3. They're plus 1,700. So I guess Vegas thinks that the Bulls are a little bit more real than
Definitely.
what a lot of people thought going into the season. They're starting out great. The Raptors are plus 10,000. I can't believe that. The Cavaliers are plus 16,000. So Vegas thinks a lot of these guys that are kind of middle of the pack, again, we're 10 games into the season. And that's why I talk about future betting in the NBA. It's different than the NFL, where you can wait, you can try to find some value where these teams like the Pacers and Hawks who are banged up. I mean, the Hawks don't have Bogdanovich, however you say his name, Hunter's out for a little bit. So these teams are banged
What's new?
up.
Bogdan's out. Bogdan's
Yeah,
always out. He's gonna come back and rain threes when he needs to. We
exactly.
also
So these teams are starting out a little slow. But to your point, Miami Heat, I like them too, but maybe they're a little too hot, plus 500. So
yeah
we don't take them
yeah
now. We
a little
wait for them to
expensive
come
right
back
now.
to earth a little bit, and we find them at plus 1200 later in the season. So that's my big thing about these futures. As we go throughout the year, we'll talk about futures and we'll keep updating stuff. We'll look at division winners. We'll look at other stuff. But just right off the bat, anything in the Western Conference that you like?
I
Anything
mean,
there?
let's jump. We'll jump right to the West, but right before that, just any other notes on the East? Like, do you have any teams that you think are frauds or not? I think the Wizards are frauds. I
Yeah,
think the Cavs are good. They just got bad injuries. Sexton out with the meniscus, but they're fine. I think the Nets are gonna start getting better. Harden's starting to play back into shape. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
things are gonna start fluctuating. The Hawks and Pacers are gonna start moving up, and the Bucks. And I
The
think the
Bucks for
Wizards are
sure.
going to start moving down, Raptors down, Cavs a little bit down. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah,
that's how it's going to start moving around a little bit.
I agree. I think going into the season, it was pretty clear that the Nets and the Bucks are going to be the top of the East. I think that's how it's going to shape up. For me, the biggest question marks that I'm not sure. Toronto Raptors, like 2 or 3 years ago with
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi, obviously they made it. They won it all, and now after that, some of
Well,
these,
Spicy P hasn't been out,
yeah,
and they got rid of
well,
Lowry. That's a
yeah,
different team now, man.
it's a totally different
Surge.
team. So how are they going to do without Lowry? Freddie VanVleet obviously gets the big contract. I mean, fantasy basketball, people are talking about taking him in the top 20. I don't see how you do that, but so I'm kind of
Gary Trent
interested.
has been playing well. Powell got hurt, not great for them.
OG, I mean, he hasn't been what he's supposed
OG's
to be.
killing it. OG's all
Yeah,
star. I mean,
yeah,
I like the Raptors honestly. I think
yeah.
I think they're gonna hang around. Nick Nurse is a good coach. I trust them way more than the Hornets and Bridges,
But
dude.
are they a
I don't
third?
think the
Are
Bridges
they
is gonna hold it up.
are they a 3 seed or they or 7 seed? That's what I can't tell about the
I
Raptors.
could. They're playing. They're a
Yeah,
playing team.
yeah.
But we could
So
jump to the West now.
yeah,
We could jump to the West. I don't really have much in the West. I honestly hate the West right
I have
now.
nothing.
I have nothing good to say. Oh, by the way, last thing on the East. MVP KD plus 550.
Okay,
That's easy though. Lead the league in points right now.
just make five
He's
times your
gonna kill.
money in 2 or 3 months and call it a day.
Yeah, that's easy. For the West, I really don't like anything. I think Golden State plus 480 is expensive. I can't
Yeah,
believe the Heat are cheaper than that. That makes no sense to me. So I don't like that too much. The only thing I do like in the West is Blazers plus 1600 to win the Northwest division. I know
okay,
we don't really like, I don't know, we don't like to talk about divisions in the NBA.
yeah.
But this feels like an easy one to me. I don't really trust the Yaz. I don't know how you feel about the Yaz every year, but they're kind of fraudulent to me. And the Nuggets, I mean, who knows when Murray's gonna come back? Is Porter gonna have a full season? Is Joker about to get suspended for a couple games and come back have MVP year or kind of slow down a little bit? I don't know. I like the Blazers plus 1600 to win the Northwest. They're hungry. Dame has a point to prove before he gets traded.
I think it's yeah, facts. I think it's one of those things where it's such a tough division. It's kind of like our pick in with Arizona and NFL is what I kind of equate it to. It's like it's a tough division, but these three teams I think are all very close. And then when you look at the
Mm-hmm.
odds and when you look at the lines, plus 1600 stands out to me as great value because I think it's not that crazy that if Dame has an incredible year, they could easily win this division. The Jazz, you asked what I feel about them. I feel like they're just this like kind of off the radar team that always does well. They have good players, obviously, but nothing stands out to me on them. Nuggets is kind of more of a 2-man team compared to I think the Jazz kind of have a fuller team, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, nothing really stands out to me on either of these teams. I think Dame Lillard's the best player on any of these teams, so he just doesn't have the pieces that these other teams have. So I like that. Plus 1600 is incredible value. We know the Timberwolves. We know OKC is not going to contend. So it's going to be a 3-horse race in that division. And I think any three of them. What are the odds for the other two teams? Do you have that in front of you? Where are the Jazz and where are the Nuggets? Because I'm just interested in the Northwest. To me, it doesn't seem
Uh,
like are they all plus money?
yes. Well, no, dude. The Nuggets are plus 500, and you're gonna be shocked to hear what the Jazz number is.
Like minus 200,
490
minus
minus
490.
490. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, NBA, the Las Vegas
This is
obviously
me
thinks
just
the Jazz are
shorting.
gonna run away with
This is
this.
me just shorting the Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, what at this point too, with any of these teams, one or two injuries and the whole season's over. So that's true with any team. But I mean, the Jazz have had injury issues before.
I mean,
Uh,
and the Blazers are perpetually, playing teams. So
yes,
I get it.
yeah, yeah, but still, plus 1,600, not a bad value. I like that as well.
You have anything in the West?
Nothing in the
Any other
West.
features?
That's my biggest
Okay.
takeaway right now. It's too expensive, and when you start taking shots, like when you start taking shots on these teams that are like in the 6 to 10 ranking in value in the East, you're looking at like plus 1,700 to plus like 6,500, like you had for the Pacers. The same teams in the same spots are like plus 900 to plus 3,000. So to me, if you're gonna take a shot in the East. You have better value, and I truly do feel like it's more open in the East because again, one
Mm-hmm.
injury to Giannis, one injury to KD, and
It's
it could be
over. Teams are
anyone's
apart.
conference.
Yeah.
Where when you're
Yeah.
looking at the West, you have maybe five teams to me that stand out with the Lakers, the Jazz, the Suns, the Nuggets, and maybe the Warriors if Clay comes back healthy. You have
Mm-hmm.
five teams that could really win it. Where in the East, I feel like you have two teams uh,
I
that really
like that.
stand out.
And if you and just going back real quick to the East, just last note on futures before we start getting into the daily slate
Yeah,
and our really picks we like on the daily for the daily NBA, which is how we'll run it for the winning picks weekly NBA section going forward. But if you like the Hornets, and you like the Pacers like me, but you don't necessarily love them, or you might even like the Cavs and the Wizards right now, and and you don't think they're frauds. I got some bets for you. The Hornets to make the playoffs plus 172. The Pacers to make the playoffs are plus 110. But if you really disagree with us and you really think the Cavs are real, they're plus 710 to make the playoffs.
yeah,
I mean, if you want to put your money where your mouth is, there you got the Wizards plus 146 to make the playoffs. Vegas obviously believes in them. So just a couple notes there on the East. Raptors plus 210. So it's open. It's kind of open
that's
there.
interesting.
I really like the Cavs actually. Some juicy number just to make the playoffs over there. They got some Evan Mobley, man. Watch out.
Yeah. I know him from 2K Dynasty. He's turns into a 90 something if you wait long enough.
Well, he might be a 90 something on the Cavs. So
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you in that. Let's get into this Wednesday slate. So again, we're looking at the 11-10, the Wednesday slate for these games. And I mean, overall, I know we're sprinkling here and there. How big are you in the NBA right now? I've taken like maybe a handful of games so far this year. I haven't really dove into it. Have you been betting day in and day out? Have you been looking at it?
yeah, I
Yeah.
plead the fifth.
Oh yeah.
yeah, day in day out. Yeah, I'm day in day, but I don't do over unders, and I rarely do straight spreads. What I'm for our purposes, I'll take straight spreads.
Sure.
And I'll do maybe a couple teasers here and there. But honestly, what I play, and maybe I'll start giving it out here, are the brackets.
Okay.
The brackets for teams to win by a certain margin, the win margins are unbelievable to me. I mean, FanDuel, if we're using FanDuel, theirs are almost for free. Like, for example, we're talking Knicks Bucks tomorrow or tonight as you're listening to this.
Yep.
The Knicks spread, that's one of my missing pick of the week. Okay. What am I
Okay.
missing here? That the Knicks are -2? We just lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers at home. Like, what do we do? We're minus. We barely beat the 76ers with no team. Why are we -2 at home versus the Milwaukee Bucks who are looking for revenge after we just beat them?
Facts.
Like, this makes no sense to me.
A
So
struggling
obviously,
Bucks team.
yeah, like a struggling Bucks team, but I mean, I think they looked okay today. Did they win tonight? Are they? No, they're off.
Yeah, they won. No, they beat the 76ers
They won today.
tonight. Yep.
Oh, they did. They did beat them. The
Mhm.
Sixers were coming back.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Yeah, they won by 9.
So I mean, it looks like they're starting to figure it out again. Middleton out is huge, but again, this makes no sense, which is why I like -2. But what I'm talking about with the brackets, I mean, you could make money on almost every game if you're just consistent. So there's the bands and then there's the margin, right? So if you want to just win money on this game, Knicks to win by 1 to 10 is plus 175, and Milwaukee to win by 1 to 10 is plus 200. So if it's a 10-point
Okay.
game either way, you're gonna make 1-to-1 money, right? If you're betting the same amount on both games, and
Yeah,
one of them has to hit and it's within 10, you're gonna win money at the end of the day. So
I like that.
what's the problem, kind of? And if you really want to go a little bit hardcore, which is where I've been taking it, what I've been doing is I've been basically betting. I've been trying to pick two brackets on each side with half a unit each. So we'll make it two full units on the game.
Okay.
And I kind of split that in, and the odds are ridiculous, man. So for this game, the Knicks 1 to 5. Well, you start making them smaller.
Okay. So one to
So I
five
know
instead of
like
one to 10.
yeah. So I do like yeah. So NBA games, which I kind of mess around with a little bit. The 1 to 2 is plus 1100 usually, because
Okay.
NBA games rarely end 1 to 2. But there's a 3 to 6, which is nice. I know this is getting a little complicated, but that's why I'm saying that's
That's
where I've
okay.
been betting my games.
Yeah.
That's where I've been betting my games a little bit. So, for example, tomorrow, let's just stick with the Knicks game. Knicks 1 to 5 is plus 410. Milwaukee plus 1 to 5 is plus 440. So now,
Okay.
if you just think it's gonna be, a 5-point game, you bet $50 each side.
Which
You're good
Vegas
to
thinks
go.
is going to
Vegas is
be
not
Vegas
a
thinks it's
two
going to be
point
a
game.
5 point game because right, they have it at 2. So they think it's going to
Exactly.
be a
That's what I'm
1 to
saying.
5.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been betting the NBA so that I could bet it day in and day out.
Yeah.
Legally, of course.
Yeah.
Shout out to New York for just legalizing it as well.
Finally.
And finally, and that's where I'm at with the NBA, because if you just take 1 to 1 with the VIG, just spreads every night, you're a losing battle with the NBA, in my opinion, or at least for me. So that's how I do it with the brackets. For purposes of the show, we're going to keep it a little bit simple. We're just going to do straight spreads and see how we do. And for the first one, I've been talking about it all day. I'm taking the Knicks -2 on a strictly what am I missing pick. This is my what I have no. This spread should be opposite, definitely. At least a pick 'em -2. This is weird,
It's
man. Just give me the
crazy.
-2. Yeah.
I'm with you with that. I mean, I really don't understand it with the Knicks. I mean, we've been so hot and cold too, and I really do feel like you said a little revenge for Milwaukee. I think that they need to get going. They need to get right. Maybe the only thing I think of is that they played tonight, so they're on a back to back. So maybe that's why.
Oh,
I
okay. I
don't
like
know.
that. Yeah, yeah. It is back to back,
Maybe,
and they're on the
maybe.
road. It was in Philly.
Yeah, it was in Philly. Now they're
Okay, so they're
going to New
they're taking
York,
the
right?
train, or we just did.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did that. It wasn't a big deal.
No, no.
We
So
got smacked by the Cavs, and then we beat the Sixers. We took the train the next day.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I like the pick. I mean, the Knicks, like I said, we've been hot and cold. So if we get hot, 2.5 points shouldn't be a problem. We're
Yeah, I
scoring.
really like the Bucks,
I feel like
so
we're
that's why I'm
scoring.
taking the Knicks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Bucks. It's one of those things. Is the Bucks should win this game, but that's why you take the Knicks
Yeah,
because you can't go with what you think is going to happen.
but I would just take the margins.
Yep,
But for the purposes of the show, of course,
exactly.
I'm not gonna say that for every bet, but but like just always look at the margins. I'll bring it in and out to the episodes to keep reminding you guys.
Yeah,
But just in general, I like the Knicks.
I would too because I think it's just such a great bet and it's such a you're kind of I mean the way I look at it from the way you've been explaining it to me and the way I look at it is like you're almost just betting on Vegas being right. Like when you bet a one to
That's
five
it.
band, you're just betting that Vegas got the spread right at 2.5, and
I'm playing
Vegas is
craps and
usually right.
I'm betting with the tail, man. I'm just like I don't like
And
please just let it ride.
the
Like
odds are so crazy that it's just like you only have to hit. If you bet the Knicks every week and they play 4 games, you have to hit one game, and there's a chance you're making money. If it's plus
dude,
410,
yesterday
plus 415.
I told you I take 4 half units
Yo,
on the bands per game. Yesterday I was so confident that the Knicks were gonna win. I just took them from 1 to 13, like just
okay.
like 4 bands between 1 to 13, and it hit.
Yeah,
So I was up 4.5 units from betting 2 units.
it's crazy.
And I spread that out. So
It's
that's how I did
crazy.
it. So my first pick is Knicks -2. What do you got?
I like it. I'm going with so one of the big trends for the NBA this year, and I've bet, like I said, a handful of games, And the only games that I've won on are unders, and it seems that to be true for like everyone. The unders are just absolutely insane right now. There's five teams, one, two, three, four, five teams with a winning record of overs. Everyone else in the NBA is either 50% or below. And I mean, some teams are crazy. Dallas is 1-7, and with two pushes to the under. Brooklyn's 2-9, Milwaukee's 2-8, Denver's 2-8. I mean, these are just crazy, crazy starts to the year. So
All these are good defensive teams, though. You're talking about
yeah, but
top defensive teams in the league.
Vegas hasn't caught on. Vegas is still pricing it too high, and Vegas doesn't let this happen for too long. But while it's happening, that they had the new basketball, I think some of the guys are getting used to it. Maybe that's some of it. Maybe it's just good defensive teams. But usually when it's great defensive teams, I think part of it too. You mentioned earlier. I think some of it has to do with the rule changes. James Harden's not getting to line 30 times a night like he was getting.
And basketball is better, man. Basketball is low key better.
It's incredible. The game's so much better, and it just makes
Faster.
sense. It took too long for them to make these changes because it just like they said the whole time, you got rid of non-basketball plays. There was no point for that to be in the game. So I'm happy it's gone. It's way better. People are getting used to it now. We're 10 games in, 20 or 30 games in. By the All-Star break, we'll forget it was even a thing. So, like I said, the unders have been hitting. It hasn't caught up yet, so let's take some more unders. I'm going first one off the bat, Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State, under 221.5. Golden State's been really strong. Minnesota's been terrible. So I do think it's not going to be close. So hopefully
number one defense in the league, Golden State Warriors.
Who is?
Golden State Warriors, number one defensive rating.
And like I said, Minnesota Timberwolves have been terrible. Golden State's been scoring. Golden State, I think they're putting up 115 a game. So they've been scoring. Steph obviously had 50 the other night. He can score with the best of them. But because it's not going to be a close game, I think there's a good chance that I think the Golden State Warriors are the highest scoring team in the league. So they can score. And like you said,
9-1. So best defense, high scoring, 9-1. Do you think that? Are you a little worried about that with Vegas and the spread that it's kind of caught up to that?
I'm not. I think it's gonna go. I think like you said, 221's I think just too high. Minnesota's 2-7 to the under this year so far, and then Golden State again, for as good as they've been scoring, they're the highest scoring team in the NBA. They're 3-7 to the under. So 3 overs, 7 unders. Just keep going. Just keep betting the unders. If they're hitting at that rate, just keep taking the unders. They're hitting 70% of the time. Minnesota's 78% of the time. So
I like that.
221 too is like one of the higher numbers for the night on Wednesday slate. So again, it's just too high of a number. I think, like you said, Golden State's good defensive unit. Minnesota just hasn't been that good offensively or defensively. So because it's not going to be too close to the end of the game, they're not going to be fouling each other and running up the score. So let's lock this in. 221. That's my first pick of the night.
All right, let's snake this back. What's your second best pick?
Second best pick of the night. It's another under. It's a little bit lower, but it's two teams in the East that have been overperforming, and I think they're going to start falling off a little bit. So Washington Wizards at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, we talked about them earlier. They're both, I don't know, top 4, top 5 in the East right now. No one saw that coming going into the year. Washington's been scoring pretty well, again 110 a night. Cavs 106, but I think that this priced at 111.5 or 211.5. I'm sorry, is again just all these teams are going unders. So we're trying to find some teams where I think they can have an off night. I think the Wizards and Cavs start coming down to earth a little bit. I think these teams that are expected to be good, we talked about Brooklyn, we talked about Milwaukee, they start getting a rolling a little bit. Hopefully the Hawks, I mean, not tonight. The Hawks are down 15 right now, so we'll see how that goes. But Wizards, Cavs, under 211.5. Give that to me. Going to be low scoring. And yeah, those are my 2 picks for Wednesday night.
All right. I'm not really a great over-under guy, but I do watch the games, and I unfortunately I'm a stat nerd, so I like to look through. And when you're talking defensive, I just like to see like how the other team scores and then how that other team defends that team's strength, kind of like how I do NFL, right? Like, oh, these linebackers are out. These guys go with
Yes.
tight ends. Let's see
Yes.
how it goes.
And
So
I'll be
that's kind of how, yeah,
complete warning to anyone out there if you tail these bets. Unders suck to bet in the NBA. It's a game of runs.
sucks
They
to
start
watch.
they start fouling at the end of the games, and they can start adding points without the clock running. It can be terrible. The over's never done in the NBA, especially college NBA, whatever it is. In basketball, the over's never done. So you got to be careful with the under. So it sucks to watch. It's no fun to watch, even if they go on a 15-3 run over the last 4 minutes. Teams can click it on. They hit three threes in a row, and all of a sudden they're back in it. So they're no fun, but they are making a lot of money right now in the NBA. So we're trying to jump on. We're trying to follow that trend. That's what we're here to do. You and I, we're gamblers. We're trying to relay this information to you guys. So again, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Winning the letter P weekly. We're on there. I'm betting Maction tonight. I'm betting college basketball, so it's not just NBA, it's not just NFL. So give us a like, give us a follow, let us know what you guys are taking because this is what we love to do. So let's wrap it up with your last pick. Unless you got two more, but I think you got one. So
No,
let's hear
I
it.
got one more.
Yeah,
I
let's
got
hear
one
it.
more, and it's a stinky one.
Okay,
It's
I
not a
like I like
game.
stinky bets.
Yeah, it's not a game. It's definitely a league pass game. You got to
Okay.
be really into the NBA, and you got to really be into this last year's draft. And if you know
Ooh,
that, you already know what I'm talking about because it's the Detroit Pistons at the Houston Rockets.
love it.
And to be honest, I like both these teams. Like I legitimately like both these teams. Just because I guess I'm a NBA junkie. I Cade and all the players on the Rockets
Jalen
and
Green, yeah.
Stewart. I mean, I just, dude, I really love watching them. So the reason I'm picking this though is not because of any of that. It's
Okay.
because Detroit absolutely stinks. And not only do they stink in real life, they also stink against the spread. They are
Yep.
3-6 against the spread, and everyone knows they stink. So the line is, I think, moving along and actually adjusting game by game, and they're still not covering.
Yeah.
Houston, on the other hand, we all know they stink, right? But they're 5-4-1 against the spread, 55.5.
Yep.
And I mean, we all know like the Houston Rockets are the Houston Rockets, right? Like they're not expecting to do anything. But against the spread, they've been doing okay. And watching them, they have this good pace to them that I kind of like watching. Um, they're very free. Like they look like they're playing at the park. And I know they're 1-9 as well. So I know this is a pick 'em. This is a disgusting game, but Houston covers.
Yeah.
I think Houston breaks their 8-game losing streak and beats the Pistons. And I know it's a disgusting game to watch. No one wants to hear about the losing. The two worst team in the league's playing with the 8-game losing streak. I know, but I think this is a nice one. I think take Houston.
So Houston minus, I have it at -1.5, -1 right now. Is that what you're seeing on your end?
Yeah, I got it at 1.5, but
Yeah.
I would just I'll just take the money line -1, or obviously take the brackets. But
Yeah.
you know how I roll.
But still, like you said, those are the up and coming guys, the first and second pick of the NBA. So throw it on League Pass, watch what the future's going to be. I mean, they're always fun to watch. So I'm with
If
you
you
with
really
that. I
think it's
like
going to
that.
be close, like you could do the brackets, right? Like the
Yeah.
1-10 on both sides, or like the 1-2 and then 3-6 on both sides. So like if you think it's gonna be a 6-point game, you know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna play this one.
I
To
like
be
that.
honest, I don't think it's gonna be a blowout either way. I think it's gonna be a pretty close game, but I think the Rockets gonna win.
I like that. All right, John. Well, I mean, it was a great first episode. Why don't you wrap us up? We talked little futures. We talked kind of the Wednesday slate of the NBA games, and going forward, we'll be talking about slates, but we'll be updating you guys on any futures that we see, anything like that.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for tuning into our first NBA betting episode on Winning Picks Weekly. We're going to be definitely dropping an episode every Wednesday. We're going to be periodically dropping episodes in and out. We're going to be having guests, but we're going to be more consistent. We'll let you know the exact schedule, but we're just NBA junkies. We have to let it out of our system.
Yes.
We got to let you guys know what we got going on. And we just love interacting with you guys. You guys are asking us what we got for the NBA. And so, we want to know what you guys got as well. So here we are. Just to wrap up on the futures, my favorite bet, my easiest bet is the Knicks to make the playoffs -185. I would say double that, make 4 units of that and split the 4 units around. Blazers plus 1600 to win the Northwest is a nice, you know, throw at a roulette. I don't really love the Jazz or the Nuggets there. I think the Pacers plus 6500 to win the East is nice. Bulls plus 1700, and of course sprinkle on the Knicks, man. Just sprinkle on the Knicks. KD MVP. That's basically where I'm standing on the futures, where I'd like to hang my hat on. Really, what do you got on the futures again, Garrett?
I got the Hawks plus 1900 to win the East. And then I also like Trey Young to win MVP at plus 4800. And that's what I'm starting out with so far. There's a lot of games left in the NBA season, so as those teams move up and down those standings, we'll be updating you guys on what else we like.
And it'll be a quicker episodes with just our best two or three bets of the day, any trends that we see going, and just to wrap it up, I got the what am I missing inaugural with my one of my best bets, Knicks -2. I'm wrapping that up with the poop fecta. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
We got I mean, if you're a fan of the NBA, man, this is a great game to watch.
Oh
Take
yeah.
Houston, break that losing streak, and cover machines, dude.
Yeah, and then I got the Timberwolves Golden State Warriors under 221.5. And then kind of your point about stinky teams, but so far they've been good. So I'm going to dive in, get them on League Pass, and see what they're all about. The Washington Wizards at the Cleveland Cavaliers under 211.5.
All right, I love it. I love it. All right, guys, please subscribe. Let us know, what you want to hear, what you like, what you don't like, what you're betting, why we're dumb.
Yeah,
What am I missing with these picks?
please.
Why are the Knicks favorites? I know I have this and I don't understand why the Knicks are favorite. I have a damn Jeremy Lin jersey behind me and I don't understand why the Knicks are favored. So please let me know. I'm at the Garden. They basically have all my money now. I don't know what to do. I don't know why they're favored, but I guess I have to take them in this game. And that's about it. Tune in next episode. We'll be all over this NBA this season.
Heck yeah. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, let's go Knicks.